Welcome, everyone, to the Legends of Sport podcast. I'm your host, Andy Bernstein. We are thrilled to bring this week's episode to all of you with the legendary PAU Gasol. This is the second time we've had PAU on the podcast, but it's the first time I can refer to him as a Hall of Famer. Congrats to PAU for his upcoming enshrinement into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. This is a huge year for PAU. Not only is he going into the Hall of Fame, he also had his number 16 jersey retired by the Lakers earlier this year. That was a magical night shared by PAU's family and friends and Laker fans everywhere. PAU is a fierce competitor and helped lead the Lakers to NBA championships in 2009 and 2010. He and Kobe were truly one of the great 1-2 duos in NBA history. There are so many layers to PAU as a person and an athlete, and we tried to touch on as many as possible in this interview. PAU was instrumental in leading the way for the European invasion of incredible talent into the NBA, having started his career in Memphis before joining the Lakers. He was a core member of 5 Olympic teams for his native country of Spain. He and his brother Mark created the Gasol Foundation with the mission to raise awareness and help eradicate childhood obesity. PAU is actively and deeply involved with Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and is a UNICEF ambassador. He and his wife, Kat, are big supporters of women's sports and equity. I am humbled to call PAU a friend. He is a warm, genuine person who anyone feels comfortable with as soon as they meet him. It was an honor to document his NBA career, especially the amazing years he had with the Lakers, and witness firsthand his deep relationship with Kobe. Thank you again to PAU for graciously writing the foreword to our Mamba Mentality book. I'm super happy I will be there to document his Hall of Fame induction this summer, and equally happy to bring this episode to all of you. So enjoy this conversation with the legendary PAU Gasol, and as always, I'll see you on the backside. First of all, welcome to the Legends of Sport podcast. Again, if you remember, you were a guest very early in the pandemic. And we've come a long way. We're now ending season number 6, which is pretty amazing, if you can believe that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend. But PAU, we have a million things we can talk about. I want to go back, though, to the amazing jersey retirement that you did with the Lakers. The Lakers did for you, but you achieved it. And can you take me through, first of all, when you were told, how were you told about that? Was it Linda or Jeannie or somebody?
Yeah, I think it was. I think probably it was just one of my visits to the city, and I like to always stop by the office and say hi and take time and talk to Linda, talk to Jeannie, talk to just the whole team there, say hello and just sit down and catch up and talk about different things. And one of the things that we discussed and we talked about was the jersey retirement and that it was going to happen, or they were thinking about making it happen this season, and that was probably a year before that. So we started talking, and it's like, okay, it started to come little by little more of a reality. It was still for me hard to believe. But very exciting to have those conversations and put myself in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, did you was a moment of reflection for you? Like, was it like, going back to when you first started playing basketball, was it as profound as that? Is that this is where the journey has taken me? Like, I'm going to be memorialized on the wall there forever. These greats of Laker history. And then, of course, we're looking forward to the Hall of Fame. It's going to happen in a couple of months. Same thing. I mean, I know how humble you are, and I know how you don't like to take credit for a lot of things that you've accomplished, or you're very humble about those accomplishments. But in personal moments of reflection, how did you feel about it? Did you feel like, wow,
I really accomplished something here.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a sense of the magnitude of the moment and how special and exceptional that is. And it really was overwhelming, just to think about it. Just to think that my journey, that I was so lucky to experience and get acknowledged to that degree, within the Lakers organization, with the Laker greats, and to me the concept of being kind of immortalized, as we are mortals, and our time in this planet Earth is limited, and we never know it's going to come to an end. But to be immortalized, that's just something extremely humbling, and kind of powerful in a way as well. So both at the same time. So it was just, I mean, to me, it's still, I don't know if I deserve this honor. I don't know if I deserve, so much love and the accolades and the recognition. You do, something that you love for so long, and you try to do it to the best of your ability. You try to maximize that window, that chapter of your journey, with incredible individuals along the way. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. And then this is kind of the consequence of it. It's not what you intended to accomplish. That I couldn't even dream of, as a kid. To have, I want my jersey to one day be retired with the Laker greats. I'm like, what? That doesn't even sound right when you say it. Or I wanted to play in the NBA. I wanted to play with the best players in the world. I wanted to become one of the best players in the world. My journey took me to different stops, and put me with great people, like I said, along the way, that things kind of came together, and when you put in the work, and you work hard at whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, or you're trying to dedicate your life to, usually, good things happen. So this is just, obviously, something so incredible, and so powerful. Now, I just remember just emotionally being just in such a high, throughout the days and weeks leading up to it. But then the moment itself, it was just so surreal. You're like in a cloud. You're like elevated in a cloud. You don't know what's happening, but you're just in it. Kind of like, in games that I've been a part of, but you're just in it. You just try to not to think too much about the surroundings and what else is happening around you, or the magnitude of everything else. Just taking it in, sharing it with your loved ones, appreciating. That's to me, that's the most important.
What really struck me amongst other things, and thank you for asking me and my crew to sort of do a behind the scenes documentary of what was going on. It was super special for me to do that, kind of the end cap of our sort of professional relationship, But what struck me the most was, I mean, of course, your humility, but also your gratitude and being able, like you just said, to thank everybody who helped along the way, who helped make this happen. And I'm just going back. I was watching a bunch of videos and stuff to prepare, and I'm going back to 2008 when you were traded. And did you feel at that point like this is going to be a rebirth for me? I kind of reached the plateau in Memphis. You had a fantastic career in Memphis, of course, Rookie of the Year, and some great years there. But you probably had gotten as high as you could get there, right? So when you came to LA, and we all know the whole story about, how this came together. But, how did you view that yourself?
Yeah, no, I definitely I felt rejuvenated. I felt re-energized. I felt like I was given a very special and unique opportunity, to be a part of something special, and like everything else, it's really about timing, right? And being prepared to take advantage of that moment, and that opportunity. So I didn't choose to be or get traded to the Lakers. I had nothing to do with it. but it happened that way. And I gave my all, in the first chapter in Memphis. There were so many factors there, per usual, out of your control. So the franchise continues, or after some really good years and competitive years, we go through a restructure, remodel, rebuild, potential sale of the team. All that is in play, and all of a sudden you have played six plus years within that franchise, but your time and your clock is ticking. So you're like, I'm ready for that next challenge, that next level. And all of a sudden you find yourself like, okay, boom, you're with the Lakers. You're playing with one of the best players of all time, with the best coach of all time, with great teammates in the greatest franchise of all time. And here you are. You're the missing piece. Let's go. So it's like, all right, this is what you kind of be waiting for, right? That opportunity, that moment. And then at that point, it's kind of up to you just to really do everything in your power to do your part to the best of your ability to do whatever the team needs in order to reach that ultimate goal, which was to win championships.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we know that one of the words that Kobe hated the most was potential. Like when people said, "Oh, he's reached his potential," or "I feel I've reached my potential," like that word didn't exist in his vocabulary because potential is limiting. And when you came to the Lakers from day one, you were challenged to put all that aside, what other people might have thought, you might have thought, and really see firsthand with him, and you say, Phil and your other teammates, what that next level could be. Was there ever any doubt that you could attain that? You could go higher than, I always call it like the sixth gear of life. Like you just go that a higher gear than most people are not capable of doing.
Well, there's no. I mean, I always felt that never set any limitations to what you can accomplish. Just put in the work. Just push yourself. Just surround yourself with other great professionals, minds, individuals that they can push you. They can hold you accountable. They can elevate you. You can elevate them. And that's how you accomplish things that you could have never thought of, right? If you set yourself, this is great, or I'm already in the NBA, or I'm already being an all-star, or I'm already scoring 20 points a game. What else? This is as good as I can be. Well, then that's when you start declining. That's when you're putting a top to what you can do. And I think to me, being lending and joining the team and having Kobe just told me, and that's what leadership is about, right? Or great leadership is about. Is, hey, let's go win a championship right here, right now. Right? We're not talking about next season. Right here, right now, in February. It doesn't matter. We didn't even look at the standings. The team was 6, I think, at the time. We didn't look at anything. We just go out there. Let's just be the best team. Let's go win a championship right now. So then that change of mindset, change your conviction, your confidence level, your determination. It's like, we're going to go out there. We're going to try to be the best team on the court every single night and give ourselves a chance to win a title. And, and quickly things kind of came together. And we gave ourselves a chance. We fell short that first year around, but that was part of our process and journey in order to get the next two. And and who knows what would have happened again if you get the 08. Let's see what happens in 09 and 10. So again, having that clear leadership from Kobe, from my teammates, from the coach and the coaching staff, it was just it was key for me to flip the switch. I said, okay, this is what it is. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah. So you guys went up against the Celtics in 08. They were probably, I don't want to say destined, but, with the big three and all that. And I remember just how incredibly physical that series was, especially with you and KG. I mean, it was just off the chart. And you guys fall short in that series. Of course, we all know that Kobe, was famously said that he would never retire until he beat the Celtics in the finals. You win in 09, which was unbelievable, but then you get them again in 2010. By that point, pal, let me ask you something. Did the Lakers-Celtic rivalry, that's decades long, right? It's embedded in both cities, both franchises. Sure. Did that like sink into you by that point? Like,
yeah, I think it sank in more at that time than it did before. When I was just like, I feel like in 08, I was just kind of trying to absorb everything as quickly as I could. You know, everything. I was kind of feeling like I was playing a little catch up. You know, but at the same time, try to perform and try to, you know, do my very best as I was figuring things out.
Yeah.
But in 2010, now I was more obviously having the experience of having lost in 08 against the Celtics. So that's already, you don't hear about the history or the past or the previous battles. Now you actually have some history yourself. And then you're more aware of those also matchups during the regular season. You feel it more. Now you're more present, you're more established. So now you get a bigger sense that you are part of that legacy. And it's up to you, and you have a say on how that history is played and what is going to be written about you and your team and the outcome of that. So that's what I focused on. And, you know, obviously it was a great ending in those finals and that legacy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I remember, you know, when Jordan kept losing to the Pistons, you know, every year Bulls and Pistons would play each other and Pistons would just beat them up, you know, and Michael just spent that summer getting bigger, stronger with the goal to like be able to withstand the hurricane, you know. And in your documentary, there was a moment in your fantastic, by the way, Amazon documentary, which I wasn't aware of until you pointed it out to me, and I watched it. Doc Rivers like really attributed, of course, the opposing coach, he attributed almost the entire Laker success to your success against KG, and like kind of putting KG, you know, being able to withstand, you know, what he brought to the table, which, you know, as we know, was just ferocious. You know, coming from Spain and seeing a lot of international basketball myself, it's not necessarily the most physical aspect of professional basketball. You know, what was that transition for you like? You know, coming to the NBA, it's a much, you know, you were kind of skinny guy when you came in. You had to put on some weight, put on some muscle.
That's right.
Do you remember, like, just?
Yeah, I do. No, I do. That was one of my focus from the very beginning. I was a lightweight. I was very skinny.
Yeah.
I mean, I had speed and versatility going for me and skill, which I try to use that, and that allowed me to be successful also early on. But I still needed to put in some muscle just to be able to compete better and protect myself. You know. So that was a point of emphasis from the beginning. As I came into the league, I remember my first weight was 227 pounds. When I got pretty much when I was with the Lakers in that year, 09, 010, it was around 260, 265. So it was 40 pounds of muscle that I was able to gain and I put on throughout my career. Then later on, you had to lose some of that weight because the game sped up, and now you didn't need to bang as much, and you just needed to keep up with the cardio, and you need a lighter weight to go up and down. But at that time, it was important for me. Those series of playoff runs are highly physical, and I was playing a lot of minutes. You know, I mean, probably around 40 minutes a night. And I had to, you know, those matchups were great. Loved those matchups, but I obviously had to go with KG. But then he had Kendrick Perkins coming off the bench, and also his whole mission was just to, you know, bang you as much as possible and beat you up and use those hard fouls. And then, you know, the first round we had PJ Brown, which he did a fantastic job for them, was a good piece. And then you had Rashid also on that second team on 10 that he was also trying to get another championship, and
I forgot about those guys.
So those guys, it wasn't just like a fully only KG matchup. You had to go through a few guys.
Yeah.
To obviously Lamar and Andrew helped out and did their part really well. But it was, it was a grind, but it was whatever it took. It didn't matter. That's kind of when you're in that winning mindset. You just like, you have to go through teams, guys, in order to be the champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because you played for a guy, Phil Jackson, who was very physical back in, when he played in the late 70s or early 70s, I'm sorry. And, Phil was, take no prisoners kind of player, and became that way as a coach too. And I love the moment you have with Phil in your documentary where, you go to him almost, I guess, for advice, for some kind of fatherly sage advice. You're coming off of you're trying to recover from your stress fracture. You're trying to figure out what the next step is. That was such a beautiful conversation, the two of you just sitting down and you being so open to what, he could advise you. You talk just a little bit about your experience with Phil and what he's meant to you.
Yeah, it means a lot, and he's meant a lot in my not just in my basketball career, which obviously had a huge impact, but also outside of it. And I always try to, we always try to find time, both him and I, to get together. Every time I come down to LA and spend time and just have breakfast, have lunch, spend some quality time and really enjoy conversations, catch up, talk about family, talk about life, talk about basketball. And so that's why I felt his input, his insight is always so valuable to me, because I think he does. He feels also very close to me, and he holds me dearly to I think his heart and life, and so we can have honest conversations like that, where we just want to hear your honest opinion and what you feel is right or wrong, best or worst, what you do, based on your experience. And obviously Phil has a lot more experience than I do. So I think it's always wise, I think, to ask questions, to reach out for advice, and Phil, I know he'll give me his best advice, knowing me too, which is important.
Of course. So the journey, it's interesting because Phil and I did the book Journey to the Ring, which was about the 9-10 season that was embedded with you guys. And we didn't know how that book was going to turn out, honestly, because the publisher said, go ahead and do this book, in the preseason, and we'll call it Journey to something. But we didn't know, obviously, the Lakers are going to win the championship or not. And it just happened to work out that way. You didn't know either. You didn't know what the future held for you, right? When you were trying to do everything you could to recover, to get back on the court. The goal was to be at the Tokyo Olympics, which I guess was maybe, fortuitous that it got pushed back a year, which, pushed forward a year. What did that feel like, man? I mean, you and I never talked about this, like to actually suit up and be there for your 5th Olympics with your brothers.
It was great. To me, I guess the fact that the pandemic hit and the games got pushed back a year, it allowed me, it's one of those things that you can't control. It allowed me to get back and heal, because my foot needed more time. So I put in the work. I could, again, control what I could control. I was disciplined about my recovery and determined to give myself a chance, while doctors were telling me, I don't know, why are you doing this? You've already accomplished a lot. You don't need to. Because also at that point of your career, it's not that you're going to play at your best, right? I mean, your peak is way gone. But you still can compete. You still can add something. And I wanted to finish on my own terms. Write that last basketball chapter. So and to your point, uncertainty and change is one of the things that we can't avoid as human beings. So we had to deal with it, and and deal with it in a way that it's positive and and it's challenging, but at the same time challenging you to grow, to learn, to be better. You can again, as Scobie also used to say, you shouldn't focus on the result or the outcome. You just got to focus on the process and the journey, on what you can do on a daily basis in order for you to be better or be closer to something that is important to you. Right. So that's what I did, luckily I was able to go back and play for FC Barcelona too, and finish and close that circle. Yeah, and then finished playing the Olympics. It was a weird Olympics because of the pandemic, the restrictions. It was kind of bittersweet, if you will. We couldn't get out of the village. There was no fans. There was constant testing. There was isolation. There was just a lot of stuff going on. The dining room, we had all compartments. The mask. It was rough that way, and but at the same time you're competing. The sweet part was they were actually happening. And those circumstances. And I enjoyed it. We fell a little short. We ran to the U.S. again in the quarterfinals. And it is what it is. But I played fifth Olympics. Now I'm part of the Olympic International Committee. Helping the athletes and the movement to grow and to empower them and so forth. So it all played out really well, and I'm happy. I'm happy I was able to share that through the documentary as well.
No, it's great. You're talking about going out on your own terms. We all saw Kobe do that. Blows an Achilles in his 16th season, guy that accomplished everything, didn't have to come back, right? But as you know, and I know, and the world knows, there's no way he's going to let an injury define when he left the game. And you did the same thing. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of times, and he had a lot of times of self-doubt, like, could I ever come back? Am I going to even be effective? But you just did it, right? Because it was completing the circle, as you say. That was one part of his legacy, and that I keep with me. It's just never giving up. Right. Obviously, our book, the Mamba Mentality book, is a thread to his, from his words. He was so gracious to write the foreword to that book. And that continues to be the thread with the fans. In terms of legacy, just one or two things, pal, for yourself, what you got from him that you're going to carry on from his legacy. But what's your legacy going to be?
I mean, my legacy, I just try to, kind of live my imprint. I think at the end of the day, I think you have to start also with your family and with your children. Even though when you have a platform and you've accomplished quite a bit and you can have a bigger or much broader impact, and I try to do that through different philanthropic efforts, through obviously our foundation, the Gasol Foundation, and everything that I try to do also in the sports world within different organizations. It's really continue to be who you are, continue to have that learning mindset, continue to have ambitious goals, continue to not setting any limitations to what you can do, continue to dream big, and follow your heart and passion, really, right? So, hey, if I want to be a part of the change in the world of sports, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to make sure that, women and men have the same opportunities and conditions in order to follow their dreams in sports and other fields, that's what I would do. If I want to make sure that children grow up healthier and with, same opportunities, independently of what neighborhood or country they come from or they live in, understanding that there are some challenges there, but at the same time, health and education are rights, should be rights our rights, human rights for children. And we have to be able to provide that for them. But at the same time, seeing the trends of how society, kids and adults are becoming less healthy, that technology is taking over, that artificial intelligence is going to make things a lot easier for all of us. But at the same time, that comes with challenges. And we have to be aware of those challenges and the repercussions of that. Mm-hmm. So we have to make sure that that we exercise enough, that we're active enough, that we eat properly, that we understand what we're eating, that we sleep well, that we take care of our mental health. And all those issues are kind of coming more to light lately. Mm-hmm. But we need to work with our children. Mm-hmm. And make sure that we're aware of all these challenges, that we are proactive as far as empowering them and giving them a better chance, and that we emphasize the right things, and that we lead by example, right? Because they absorb everything that is in their environment. So we have to create these healthier environments in our societies. So that's kind of what my legacy. Yeah, in a nutshell. I wasn't a nutshell, but
that's pretty
what I wanted to be. Maximize your time, maximize your opportunity. I feel like I've been given a great opportunity, and the more recognition, the more acknowledgments that you get, the more successful you become, the higher the responsibility should be, and it feels to me. Because what does that amount to? What does that translate to? Just to have on a wall or at home and feel good about for a time, or no, it has to translate to something bigger.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to the 2013 book that you did with our good friend Lori Shepler, which we love Lori. Life Vita was the name of the book, and you talk about at the end about I built a legacy and a life that I was proud of, that I made a difference. I mean, that's what it's really all about.
That's what making a difference, right? I mean, that's what also Jackie Robinson said in his epitaph, and his his life should be measured on how many lives have you been able to impact. And that's what I want to impact lives. I want to make a difference on people's lives, inspire them with the right values, with the right opportunities, so they can have an impactful life, and they can inspire others, and they can touch others, and they can make a difference, and ultimately, hopefully, we'll have a better world because of it.
I mean, I don't know if you've thought this far ahead of it, but the message you're sending your own children about that is it's just so crucial and critical. We lead by example. You said that in our own house, we have to lead by example. That's how they learn. And, I'm just thinking back with Kobe, the young Kobe, obsessed 24/7 with basketball, lived, breathed it. We all know the legendary stories about him coming out of high school and the whole thing. But then when I saw like a physical, emotional change in him when he became first a husband, then a father. Right. I mean, he was still, he still wore the Mamba cape, but I literally, when he would cross that threshold out of the Laker locker room, and Vanessa and the girls were waiting for him, they put the cape away and he became daddy, and what to me is, as a father too, my kids are a little older. It really struck me that you can put it away. It's like I was also obsessed with my craft. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he and I bonded. What did he teach you about fatherhood? And you've had a great role model in your own father, of course, and being a father figure. But did you guys have conversations about that, about being a father and what the responsibilities are?
I think we didn't talk much about that type of personal stuff. Well, especially while we played together, we talked more after I left and after even he retired and stuff. But to me, the biggest kind of show of how good of a father he was, and it's really his children, Vanessa's and Kobe's daughters. Because they're so amazing. They're so kind. They're so sweet. They're so thoughtful. So loving. They're so smart. So it's that's kind of the biggest to me attribute, and the biggest sign of how much have you contributed and impacted your family. And to me, it's something that you see, you perceive. So even though COVID, didn't open up that part of his life, let's say, very much to his, to his teammates, to his professionals surrounding, or even, he didn't have many friendships like that, But the time that I went over to his house, actually, it was the first time was when he tore his Achilles, and I wanted to see how he was doing, and he rehabbing and so forth when he was still in the scooter with, just recently just happened. So, that's where you see and you perceive things, and this is an incredible part of you that I haven't really seen. And then we had a dinner also together for his documentary. I think it was Muse. And and we had dinner with Vanessa and Natalia and Gigi, and you see things there that are. This is also even. I mean, what you do on the court and what you accomplish on the basketball court and sports, and it's incredible, right? It's super exceptional. But this is really important, and you haven't lost sight of this. Because if you fail at this, the rest, it's irrelevant, right? So that's why I also started when you asked me about legacy. You got to start with your own household. You got to start with your own children. If you're impacting millions of lives, but your children, they don't turn out to be who you want them to be or what they could have been, because you weren't as present, or you didn't provide it, or you didn't give it the importance and that it has, then you fail, kind of thing. You feel that can really hunt you. You can't go back. Time flies, and they grow up so fast. So for him to have accomplished, a testament to Vanessa and how great of a mother he is to those kids. But really, that's what it's very impressive.
Yeah. Well, that was so well said. Thank you. And you and Kat and your kids have been such great friends, and to Vanessa and the girls, and will continue to be. I know that's ingrained in you and will be forever. I can imagine how grateful she is. She has to be, to know that she can turn to you. I mean, at any time, and which is wonderful, man. Pal, we could go on and on, man. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Always being so gracious and wonderful, and a great subject on camera for all those years. Thank you, man.
You are too, Andy. You're amazing, Andy. Well, I love it. You're an example of, again, of not setting any limitations. What you can do. You've probably the best sports, not just basketball, but sports photographer of all time, or one of the best of all time. Not that I've met all of them or I've seen all their work, but I know that you are. And you said, hey, I'm also going to do a podcast. I'm also going to help write books. I'm also going to, and you're an inspiration to many. So thank you. And I'm lucky to call you a friend.
Oh, thank you, my friend. And look, we're on the same page, man. I mean, talking about legacy and transition, and the whole mission of Legends of Sport is really to help those who might need a little help post-retirement, and you setting the bar and being an example of that, and having your message come out to our listeners and viewers is super important to me, and it's it's great.
Thank you. Andy, that's one of the things that I want to continue to do. Is continue to help those athletes, current and former athletes and future athletes, to prepare for what's going to be the biggest chapter of their lives. Is not going to be their sporting career. It's going to be the after, and how they handle things prior, during, and they prepare themselves for that bigger part of their life. It's going to be critical. And we see too many athletes just struggle too much, tragically even, after. And so it's important for them to understand, that they have to prepare, that they don't have to take things for granted, that they have to educate themselves, that they have to be financially aware, that they have to really also be on top of and educate their families and surroundings. That sometimes they also get carried away with the flash and the lifestyle, and so yeah, it's a lot of work to be done that I'm going to continue to do, whether it's through the NBA, through basketball, the FIBA Basketball International Federation, through the Olympic Committee, and the Athletes Commission that I'm a part of. Just to make sure that we empower those athletes, and athletes have a unique set of skills that could be translatable and impactful in any kind of professional field. But they the same amount of work that they put into their careers, they're going to have to put into something or different things. Because again, family is also an important one. And there's too many also families that are separated or broken up, because athletics is it's a unique career that brings on a lot of challenges as well. And it's hard to weather those. Yeah,
for sure. And that's a whole other conversation, but a lot of it comes with preparation, right? That, guys are drafted. I always equate going to the draft like you're going to win the lottery that day. I mean, not the NBA or NFL lottery, but it's like you bought a lottery ticket today and knew that you were going to win. Right? Okay, then what happens? You have to, at that moment, you have to start preparing for after that. And you don't know what's going to come down. And yourself, Magic, other guys that I know have been real role models of that. And I love what you're doing with the International Olympic Committee, because that has to be taken to that level as well. Because, too many horror stories of things going south. Listen, I do. Thank you so much, and please send my best to you and your team, the kids, Farhan,
and to your wife as well.
I am so grateful to PAU and his team for making this conversation possible. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. He is a very, very special person and a true legend of sport. Can't wait to be there this summer when he is enshrined into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Remember, everyone, you can find us on the iHeart app and online, as well as Apple and Spotify and your favorite podcast platform. Keep following us on Instagram at Legends of Sport, our Twitter at Legends_of_Sport, our website, legendsofsport.net, and, of course, our YouTube and TikTok channels, Legends of Sport. My photography can be found on Instagram and Twitter at ADB Photo Inc. So, folks, this is our last episode of Season 6. What a way to close out an amazing season of great conversations at the Legends of Sport podcast. We at LOS are so grateful to all of you for your loyalty and support. Can't wait to come back with some great guests and conversations in Season 7. So stay tuned for updates on our social media. Huge thanks to our team at the Legends of Sport podcast, our incredible producer, Eugenia Chow, our editors, Sean and Megan, our jack of all trades, social media manager, Michael, and our researchers, Kaya and Haley. Have a great summer, everyone. And like I always say, stay safe and stay well.